Warning. Channel Robozoid contains adult language, adult content, strong opinions, and verbal brutality. Viewer discretion is advised.
You know, I'm so used to reporting bad news that actually I can't believe for once I actually have to report some good news. Maybe that's why I'm dressed up all brightly like. Because, well, we're winning. In spite of what the left are saying, and in spite of what the enemy is saying, we're winning. Because, let's face it, we have pretty much de-weaponized Iran. I mean, all their weapons are pretty much either at the bottom of the sea along with them. Because, well, the Straits of Hormuz, or as we should call it, the Straits of the Whores Moose, well, they have done very, very poorly. And let's be honest here. Well, I don't really care for the Straits of Hormuz, those whores in Hormuz. And, well, of course, NATO proved to be unbelievably useless when it came to this so-called war in Iran. And, well, honestly, Europe is just screwed. They're totally screwed. They're weakened. They're compromised. And America seems to be the only real top dog in the world now because, well, we're the only ones willing to fight when Europe pretty much gave up and surrendered. Just take a look at this news report from News Nation, and you'll see exactly what I mean, as it ends with, of course, the two biggest sissies that you've ever seen, basically trying to work together to negotiate peace, which didn't work out for them. And that, of course, would be Emmanuel Macron, and as well as, what's his name? Keir Starmer, the so-called Prime Minister of England, which doesn't exist anymore. Take a look.
Kelly Meyer just spoke with the president on the phone about these developments. I mean, fervent posts on social media. Kelly, you asked him specifically about all of this breaking news. Share with us the conversation.
Yeah, hey, Marty. So I just got off the phone with the president, and we are here in Las Vegas. We are traveling with him as he makes his way to Arizona today. But he has been posting this stream, as you mentioned, of posts on Truth Social. So I called him and asked and just got right to the point because the post sound as though this has been agreed to. And when I asked, did Iran agree to the main sticking point here of stopping enriching uranium, which is meaning getting rid of their ability to create these weapons, he said yes.
Uranium.
Did they agree to stop enriching uranium? He said they agreed to everything. And then he asked me, are you surprised? So I asked him, are you surprised? And he said, I'm not surprised by anything. And then he said, I'll see you later. And the call ended. So it seemed as though, from the way that these posts are coming across on his Truth Social page, that this was a successful morning. He didn't give any more detail into what calls have been happening this morning. It's now, 7:45 here in Las Vegas, 10:45 in the East Coast. And he might have been having these conversations through the night and into the morning, but he's saying this is a great and a brilliant day for the world. He's saying that Iran agreed never to close the strait again, and all of these different posts. So it gives the indication that there has been big, massive movement in getting this deal with Iran.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Keir Starmer arriving now at Élysée Palace in Paris.
Excuse me.
To meet the French President, Emmanuel Macron.
Keir Starmer,
is what they
biggest limey bastard on earth.
To aid in the efforts to reopen the Straits of Hormuz. Pretty warm relationship, as evidence there, between the two centre-left leaders. Their work cut out for them on what they can do to get the Straits of Hormuz open. Much of the important negotiations taking place, of course, in Pakistan. Potentially further meetings between American and Iranian negotiators next week. But he is there to aid in those efforts with other Western leaders there in Paris.
You serious?
Of course, the president, as you said, has been sharing a lot of good news today. Those conversations with Iran continue, as he said.
I'm so much better at reporting bad news.
But at the the end of the day, the president all along, even before he ever took office, has been very clear. Iran, a country that for 47 years has chanted death to America, has threatened our troops in the region and all across the world, can never possess a nuclear weapon. So that is why he took on courageously an action in Operation Epic Fury, something that past presidents talked about but didn't have the courage to take on. Whereas now
Not even Reagan.
all of our military objectives in that
not
operation.
Bush.
Iran's ballistic missiles are destroyed. Their navy's at the bottom of the ocean. Their proxies are weakened. And that has now also given us maximum leverage to participate in these negotiations. So as he said, those continue with a lot of meaningful progress, and we will certainly keep you apprised as those updates come in.
Yes, and President Trump just got on Air Force One for a quick trip to Arizona for an event that we'll see later on today. He didn't take any questions, but he just told CBS News, he basically explained why it is that he is so confident a deal is about to be closed with the Iranians. He says that they have agreed to let United States, not troops, just somebody from the United States, go in to Iran with some Iranian officials to collect leftover uranium, what he calls the nuclear dust, and then bring it back somewhere to the United States. That has been the key to all of this. The president earlier today disputed a report in Axios that the U.S. might unfreeze $20 billion in Iranian money in exchange for getting them to fork over all this uranium. He says not a dollar will be exchanged in any way. So we will definitely hear more about this once he gets to Arizona, but there's a lot happening, and it is possible that he doesn't want to get ahead of his team who are talking directly to Tehran.
Trump responded to the British Prime Minister with this little message here, saying, "Now that the Hormuz Strait situation is over, I received a call from NATO asking if we would need some help. I told them to stay away unless they just wanted to load up their ships with oil. They were useless when we needed it. They were useless when needed." The paper tiger, a paper tiger, President JDT. Yeah, and England pretty much has become a paper tiger. You see, this is exactly why Europe looks weak around the world, because, well, they've become totally weak. You have to remember, once upon a time, the British Navy used to be the most feared navy in the world. Oh yeah, I know you find that hard to believe, but it's true. They used to be the most feared navy in the world. That is until they kowtowed and compromised all of their traditions, institutions, and convictions and beliefs to radical Islam, and basically took the knee to them, which is exactly why England became Londonistan and France became Paristan. So I think now you understand exactly why we're number one around the world again, and it's all thanks to President Trump. Now, I don't give a damn if the left don't want to give him any credit. Fine, but we know the real story. The real story is Trump deserves most of the credit for actually making America strong again. See, it wasn't about making America great again, because we were always great, regardless of who the president was, whether he was a tough-as-rocks Republican, a simpleton or a rhino, or just another war hawk, like George W. Bush, or maybe even a soft, pathetic little Democrat like Obama or Biden were. I mean, America has always been great, no matter what. But it was a matter of making America strong again and respected around the world. That's what it's all about.
Friday night panel time. Sky News contributor Joe Hildebrand. We love having Joe with us in Sydney. And Mia Schlitt, Executive Director of the Samuel Griffith Society here in Melbourne. Welcome to you both. I woke up this morning to vision of a Sky News microphone held by Jonathan Kersley being thrust into the face of the US President Donald Trump. Good on Jonathan, world exclusive. He got to ask him about Australia's involvement in the Iranian war. Donald Trump wasn't all that happy with what we were not doing. Have a look at what he said.
On Australia, Mr. President, you asked for 3.5% increase, like 5% you did with NATO. Australia has only gone for 3%. Are you satisfied with that decision? Would you?
Well, I'm not happy with Australia because they were not there when we asked them to be there. So Australia,
what did you ask for?
Australia was another one. They were not there, having to do with Hormuz, the Hormuz.
What do you mean by that?
I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
very brave of Jonathan Kearsley to do that.
So the point is, he was not happy.
Anthony Albanese was down at the Viva oil refinery fire today, jetted in from, I think he was in Malaysia. Here's what he had to say when asked about it.
I've seen the Sky News footage and the way that the question was asked and the way that the follow-up was asked as well, and there wasn't an answer given. So I refer to my previous answers day after day after day when I've been asked. They're exactly the same. There's been no new requests at all.
The quote from the US president is, "We asked them to be there, Prime Minister." That's a direct quote from the US president. That's pretty black and white what he said.
Well, I've answered the question.
Joe, I note that he said there's been no new requests. Now, I mean, I know you can get into the nuance of language, but does that mean there was an older request at the start that we've never been told about?
I think what's probably the most likely is that there were sort of informal feelers put out. I mean, you never get a formal, in a relationship like that between Australia and the US, you would never ever get a formal request unless you knew in advance that the answer was going to be a full-throated yes. And so what you would do is you would have lower level diplomats talking to each other all the time, feeling each other out, saying, look, do you think that, you know, if we asked this or if we did this, that Australia would do this, and then there would be feedback saying, look, we could probably do this, but not this, and blah, 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 blah. So just hypothetically, for example, it may well be that, you know, Donald Trump asked for Australia to join, you know, the offensive capacity against Iran, and Australia said, look, we can't really go that far, but we'll back your campaign and we'll send you a defensive capability in the form of the RAF Wedgetail and some SAS troops. So it looks like we're there with you, but we can't take part in the offensive. We can just do defensive work, and that way we can play it back home and you can be happy and people shake hands on it. Donald Trump maybe interpreted that as Australia not doing enough, and that's why he's still got his knickers in a knot. But he's been saying this about pretty much every country in the world. That's the other thing. We hear it in Australia because it's about us. He's saying about, you know, South Korea, Japan. He's given an absolute bollocking to the UK, which is America's so-called special relationship. You know, France, you name it. So I think we can take it with a grain of salt.
Sorry if that ran long, but I guess that's kind of the way it is. But hey, I like Sky News Australia. They're pretty good. I mean, especially when Rita's on because, well, she's the one who really sticks up for America when most of the others there don't. But nevertheless, we have never received oil from the Straits of Hormuz. We have never needed any of their oil. We've pretty much been very productive for the last year with our own. And no, we've never collected oil from them. I mean, what do we need it for? As far as uranium goes, well, that was something that probably should have happened a long time ago when we made the threat of give us your uranium or we'll Bush and Cheney 'em. See how that works? You know, I'm a poet and I know it. Symbol shot. But in any case, yeah, clearly, you can clearly see how we are number one in the world again, thanks to President Trump. We're a strong nation again. It wasn't about making America great again. We've always been great, regardless of who the president was. But it was a matter of making America strong again. Whereas, let's face it, England, France, they're just weak. They're pathetic. They look pathetic in the world stage. So does China, actually, now. Even China is now on their knees to us, basically sucking our proverbial, well, you know. But nevertheless, yeah, China, they're compromised. Iran, they got nothing left, no nuclear capabilities. And as for the Straits of Hormuz, or Hormuz, we never really needed them anyway. And so, really, there you have it. We still are the alpha dog of alpha dogs. Ruff, ruff. I will never do that again, I promise. But in any case, yeah, we're doing fine as a country, thanks to President Trump. And again, I am so used to reporting bad news, but this was such a good one that it's the weekend. Let's loosen up and have some fun a little bit here. This has been the Robozoid saying, hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Of course, smash that like button. Subscribe to my channels on both Rumble and YouTube. I will see you in another video very, very soon. And what else should I say? Be here or be absolutely nowhere. And wokeness is weakness.